Hello peeps, it's me again, Adam Stone. Now this time I'm not going to show you my face, instead I'm at my desktop here. And what I've decided to do is use my computer to show two pictures. Now both of these are officially from Wikipedia. So I did pull these up from Wikipedia. Let's see here. Did I, no, it was on the Iran-Saudi Arabia proxy conflict page. As you can see, it's right there. I just saved file as and subsequently have it on Windows Photo Viewer. Now, why is it I have a photograph which highlights Saudi Arabia and Iran? Well, obviously there is currently a significant conflict specifically between these two countries. The potentiality for the Cold War to explode, to become hot, is very potential here. Now, here's the thing you guys have to understand. When 1979 and the ghulat ruler officially emerged in Persia, you have to understand that once that happened, it was not a Soviet plot, but it ended up eventually leading to a continuation of that pre-existing Cold War in the Middle East. And as a result of the Ghulat revolution of Persia, America switched their policy from being pro-magi to being more pro-Semite tribes, pro-Sunni, pro-Jewish, Jewish-Sunni Semite tribes alliance. And so this is where it currently stands. As you can see, there's a very small waterway between those two. At its narrowest point, it's said to be 9 miles. Very close. Very dangerous situation. For those wondering what that small sliver is there, now south of Saudi Arabia, immediately into its east, is Yemen, Oman, and United Arab Emirates from west to east. Now, why UAE is significant, the United Arab Emirates, is because they were the first country to be, well, not the country per se, but when Britain wanted to make sure that Arabia didn't blow up over Persia, so they contacted the Emirates, who have been there since the 1400s. They're older than Columbus. They've been in power before Columbus was in power. Or not Columbus, but before the kings of Spain who funded Columbus. So this is before Castillon succeeded in pushing out the last of the Umayyad Caliphate, specifically in Cordoba, for that particular reference. But you can also look at Benjamin Toledo. He came and passed through United Arab Emirates as well. But as you can see, going back in again, United Arab Emirates is most obviously significantly closer to Saudi Arabia. Obviously, however, as you can see, Saudi Arabia is significantly larger and is hence highlighted. But the reality is the tension's actually a bit closer to the UAE, and this is why American troops are there. It's because the British were there too, of course, when they had control over Persia. Now that they lost control over Persia, the American military has had to stock up in the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. Well, I don't know about Qatar. I know they stocked up in Bahrain. And that is obviously a very significant development. I understand the criticism on the part of the American government, but I think they do not understand how, for example, in Nigeria, there was a Ghulat's Magi clergy-led effort to convert populations to the way of the Ghulat. So they had to respond to this. And so in the same vein, are the deaths in this case of a specific sheikh in Saudi Arabia, who I am aware of, was also executed. And while some people have criticized that because supposedly he was a reforming democratic voice, unfortunately, Cold War scenarios like this do not lend themselves naturally to democratic initiatives being undertaken. Almost always they lend themselves to authoritarian and or totalitarian states. The reason usually authoritarians win over totalitarians is totalitarians, you centralize all power within one ruler, for example, Stalin or Maduro or Castro family or similar scenario, and you end up with the government being the supply and the population becoming the demand. And when that happens, you get mass starvation, mass imprisonment, and mass murder. So unfortunately for them, they were just too stupid to see that and too zombified in their mental capacities. Okay. Now, obviously, back to the original topic involving the Iranian-Saudi Arabia proxy conflict. Now, to understand how this manifests, we must go and look back at the Syrian conflict. Now, this is, I think, an old map. It is not the most updated map. Let me go ahead and try to zoom in here and get you a closer look. So, now, as you can see, my map here does not give very good details. It's not the best quality. That's true. Now, currently, as you can see, there are Kurds here in yellow. Al-Daesh is in black. The Alawite ghulat Iranian-backed Hezbollah forces are in red. And the green is just rebels that are just whatever, an assortment. It is, at this location, white, a little bit here in and out, and mostly up here, however, in the vicinity of Turkey, as well as among other rebels within Homs and Hama, or Homs and Hama, excuse me. But as you can see, rebels are very much besieged. Now, except of course in the area here outside of civilization. Here is Daraa. This is Dimshaka. You got, like I said, Hama and Homs. Khalibu is over here, Latakia, Tardis. Rock, I think, is like somewhere like right here. Something, Simeon is, Simeon's up here somewhere. You got your thing over here going on, Deir al-Zora. You've got a couple stuff involving Hasaka and a couple other places where government forces of the Iranian-backed Alawites are somehow continuing to hold off against Kurdish forces. I'm assuming the Kurdish forces might not be the most well-trained. As you can see here, Deir al-Zora, we see here that there are government forces as well still operative. And al-Daesh also controls a portion of two outlying territories as well. And as I said, rebel groups, the assorted rebel groups, and al-Daesh control a lot of sparsely populated lack of territory. However, I'm not sure if this is the Tigris or Euphrates River. I forgot. No, so I take that back. Euphrates, because Turkey did their Euphrates shield up here somewhere. Up around here. And it has also been reported that Turkey has overtaken any Kurdish positions west of the Euphrates. So this area, I think, is under Turkish control. And as far as we know, They are somewhere immediately outside of Khalibu here. So I don't know if that means that Turkey has control of Simeon, which is somewhere over here outside of Aritz River, or Orontes, as it's known in Greek. Hopefully my amurru brothers are doing okay there. My amurru allies, I hope they're doing okay there. Obviously, I can't guarantee that they've been safe under Alawite Iranian-backed ghulat control. But down here, right here specifically, right where Jordan and Golan Heights are, we have al-Daesh of Yarmouk. Now, for those of you who aren't aware of how much crap al-Daesh is, they think they said Armageddon was going to happen at Dabiq, somewhere over here. Guess what? Turkey smashed them. So talk about an apocalypse. Yeah, it came for you, buddy. Fucking Rosjep thought arsehole motherfucker. Fucking making birth offerings. You fucking idiot. What are you, a Satanist? That's the shit that George Soros does with children. He said instead of burning them, he just fucking cuts them up and eats them and rapes them and then fucking burns them. Oh, and while you're throwing homosexuals off buildings, which is clearly excessive force. I mean, if you're gonna punish somebody, you could just use a fucking axe or 2 bullets of a Kalashnikov. You don't need to fucking throw them off buildings. So you guys are just fucking idiots. Al-Daesh, you're just fucking following a Rosjep thought dude. Now, as for why Yarmouk is significant, you have to understand this. Now, this here is West Bank of Palestine currently being occupied by the Zionist forces. As a Jew, I will tell you, in America, there's a reason why we call this an occupation. Now, as involves Golan Heights, the only reason I'm not going to refer to this as occupation is not because legally it's not considered that, but because of the Alawite-backed forces that you see here. You see, they tried to prevent Israel from supporting assorted rebel groups and Fateh al-jihad through coup d'etat. And I am supporting of coup d'etat opening. I'm supporting of food, medicine, and weapons being sent through coup d'etat to our fellow amurru allies. Now, back to why the occupation is still important and how this relates to Yarmouk, al-Daesh of Yarmouk. Now, for those of you who don't know, they call it Sinai province, but it's just al-Daesh and Sinai aligning themselves with various Badawi tribes. Now, for those of you who are wondering why it is that there's concern involving al-Daesh of Sinai working with the Muslim Brotherhood outfit of Hamas in Gaza Strip, the concern is simply that al-Daesh and Sinai would, in fact, economically work with them. Now, this is why the Zionist nation of Israel, and I'm not going to say that they should be removed. I know it's something the Torah Karta says, and I'll let them to their opinion. But as a vilnistani, I am opposed to their philosophy, their ideology, but not to their right to exist as a nation. I would like to be able to revisit sometime. So that's obviously why I don't mind. But ultimately, it must be done in coordination with fellow tribesmen. It must be done in coordination with fellow Semites. You cannot be aligning yourself with somebody who has bare STDs. I mean, the defense minister of the Zionist government is literally a bear rider's little bitch. He probably has bare STDs in his anus, as far as my concern is. And that's besides the fact he lives in a freaking termite mound built on a hill. So, obviously, as you can understand, I am not the most favorable towards neocon positions. Now, again, how does this all relate with al-Daesh and Sinai? And the reason is simple. For those of you who don't know how significant the meeting with Russia and al-sisi is, don't understand why Netanyahu and Erdogan have been meeting him. It's because America did not apply their essentially when you say, okay, this blank, red line, and then you allow that red line to lapse, your credibility is lost entirely. So that's why everybody's pissed off. They're going and meeting with them. They're buying shit. They're trying to prevent each other from going to war. And instead focusing on killing each other instead and trying to annihilate each other. I mean, this is how we do it. I mean, you can go and read the book and see how many harems that we did on the Canaanites. What other harems we did to populations, okay? So I'm not going to complain about annihilation, this annihilation, that. Shit happens. Again, I use vulgarities to ensure that my videos are not monetized, so advertisers cannot be given any further incentives. So, okay, I'm sorry for going on so many tangents. I just had to explain to you all the details. But now back to why al-Daesh of Sinai, working with tunnels of Gaza Strip, built not necessarily by the Brotherhood affiliate of Hamas, but by various things. It is sad what's happening in Gaza Strip, unfortunately. I'll hopefully get around to posting some Jon Stewart episodes. I'm intending to do that. Some segments involving Gaza in particular. So watch out for that as well. But what al-Daesh and Sinai is concerning to Israel is the same reason, obviously, that Egypt is concerned. And President al-Sisi is concerned. And so this is why Israel has allowed a military to be present in al-Sinai. And as far as my concern is, I don't think Israel's ever going to want them to leave again. I think Israel and the Zionists have learned the lesson of what happens when you don't allow a nation to control their territory. It gets run amok. And eventually, someone's going to exploit it. In this case, al-Daesh came in. Now, again, why is that significant? Because they want to go in from Yarmouk and al-Daesh and Sinai, they want to go in and attack Israel at Ben Gurion. They think the apocalypse, al-Daesh thinks the apocalypse will happen at Ben Gurion. This is how insane they are. Like, do they not know that the apocalypse is going to happen here or here or here? What idiots are these guys? Like when Ishval fought with Biryazawa, king of Dimshaka. Ishval, king of Shechem, son of Labawi or Libhayu, was actually king of Pela later on. Pela is somewhere up here. Very, very close to Dimshaka. So when ancient times in Amarna, when the pharaoh at the time told Biryazawa, who was the ruler of Dimshaka and is believed to be of Bitani lineage, to attack Ishval, who is traditionally king of Shechem, his father, Libhayu, who I prefer to refer to as Labawi, because in Ashkenazi Hebrew, this is how we pronounce that name. But for those of you who don't know why Amarna connects to the Bible again, it's because Labawi gave whoever Sarai was. And when I say Sarai, here's the thing about Sarai. That means literally his ruler. So it doesn't imply a gender. So the fact that it says that Abraham or Avrom, the Ibru, will change his name to Abraham, the father loves, and Sarai, his ruler, to Sarah, noblewoman. What is that saying? What that is actually saying, in my opinion, is that Sarah married Labawi, had Ishval, Yitzchak, Ishmael, potentially those two, but I know for a fact that Ishval, or Mutbal, was definitely born by this, or he would not have been consorting with the Chabiru. We also know that a message from Bad Ursag, who was commissioner to the house of Labawi, to the king of Shechem, The House of Labawi, they killed him in Gina, in the city of Jenin today. And I would actually think that's a political assassination on the part of either Sarah when she was insulted over the name of Yitzchak, which is why I believe that Yitzchak and Ishmael were in fact alive with Sarah when she married Labawi, King Labawi of Shechem, or modern day Nablus. And that's why I think that is the case, because ultimately they killed him, and then his two sons were sent to Bad Ursag. I consider that to be a political ploy. My best advice would be to subscribe and look at the videos of the channel of Dr. David Neiman, a professor of the University of Long Beach, California. I consider him to be excellent in his expertise in the interpretation of the book. And I'd like to make this known to the Reform sect of Judaism. Do not tell me faith. Do not tell me about that. You do not understand the promise. If you did, you would not reject the factual, historical, and archaeological basis of the book. So I wish to make it clear that's just foolish. Now, back to the original context of the Syrian conflict and how exactly the conflict between Ishval from Shechem, son of the king of Shechem, technically king of Pela or Pehilu, somewhere here in Jordan, and Mirazawa in Dimshaka, is because today we have Netanyahu, who is being challenged in 3 years. He won the past election last year in 2015. But the idea that he has not been undermined to the point that he will most likely lose in 2019, I do not know. I don't actually know if he will lose. But he has been undermined enough that they claim that Yair, whatever his name is of Lapid, Yair Lapid of Yesh Atid, the reason that he and his party had lost so significantly in 2015 election is because of his economic decisions. When you do not appoint the head of Kulano as your finance minister, you are being stupid. And there's a reason for that, because ultimately he had the understanding of economic policy that oligopolies and monopolies are not productive. You must have economic competition. The lack of economic competition leads to stagnation of the economy. This is why, if it was me, I would encourage Saudi Arabia, and I support them, to continue their Vision 2030 program and to expedite and increase the speed of their progress of Vision 2030. And I encourage them and support them to continue to progress as a result of the implementation of Vision 2030. So for those of you who are wondering why it is I support my fellow Jews and Muslims, that is why. I am a supporter and encourager of Vision 2030. Now, how does, again, the Iranian-Saudi Arabian proxy conflict, again, relate to Syria? Well, here's why. The Iran nuclear deal did not assist the Iranian people. It only supported the Magi council clergy, ghulat ruler, and his military. It is a military dictatorship whose authority is based on the Magi clergy, or Majusi clergy, and their ghulat ruler. So their democracy is a fallacy. The idea that they have a functioning prime minister or president is a fallacy. So what did the Iranian nuclear deal do? It allowed for the military aspect of the dictatorship of the Majusi Magi clergy and ghulat ruler to ultimately acquire all of the business that would have came in from the Iranian nuclear deal. So none of the Iranians or the citizens who live under the military dictatorship of the magi, majusi, clergy, ghulat ruler are getting any benefit of the Iran nuclear deal. This is true. The reason, however, is not America. It's the faults of the military dictatorship backed by the magi, majusi clergy, who in turn backs the ghulat ruler. I'm not going to call him by the name they want to give him. He is not what is God. What is God? Clearly, it is not Haman. It is not Rosh Khamenei. So, with that stated, this is why I decided to make a video involving the Iranian-Saudi Arabian proxy conflict. Because the magi, majusi, clergy empire of Persia is attempting to essentially back a ruler who himself is more of a ghulat than anyone else. People pray on mats with his face on it. I don't even need to mention what his name is. I'm not even going to. This Nimrod, this ghulat Nimrod of Dimshaka, I think Israel should airstrike him. As I said, I support Israel sending more food aid, more medicine aid, and weapons aid to the assorted rebels through Quneitra Pass. And I think Israel should drone strike all of these Hezbollah, Iranian, Persian, magi, clergy-backed military dictatorship fools and should get rid of them and should blast them. It is said that they can hit Dimshaka with artillery. If so, I demand you start that now. As a Jew, I am telling you, Zionists, you have the choice of getting ahead of Biyazawa or Rosh Biyazawa, or you can be invaded through here and through here. You can be invaded, and you will have to deal with it like Ishval before us. So this is why the Syrian conflict, the magi, majusi clergy backing of the local ghulat ruler of Dimshaka, and why Saudi Arabia must not just support Israel, but why Israel must not be so arabophobic. They must stop being Islamophobes. They must unite with their Semite tribes. They must stop the occupation here. Must allow all of the citizens who are suffering from the lack of reconstruction in Gaza Strip to return to the Negev. They must ultimately simply be willing and ready to absorb them, because they have either the option to pull out from here or they will have to absorb them. And as it involves Gaza Strip, they don't have a choice. They bombed it to the point that they now have to absorb Gaza Strip. Or I would have to eventually question their humanitarian efforts, because you can do a humanitarian effort and send food aid to Africa. But if you're bombing a population to annihilation and starvation and misery, that is not humanitarian. And the same thing involving the occupation of West Bank territory of Palestine. As I said, I'm not going to concern myself with the Golan Heights at the moment. For what I understand, the Druze actually kind of don't mind it. And I think it would be a good idea to allow marriages. Like I would tell the population of Syria that the only reason I don't want you to move here is exclusively because I want you to push back against these Alawite Maggie-supported forces. So we'll give you food, medicine, and weapons to do so. And we'll also accept marrying your daughters, or something along those lines. So with that stated, hopefully that will explain the inherent reasoning behind the conflict, my official alignment regarding it and my advice accordingly. So, once again, just want to go and let y'all know that it is me, Adam Stone, 7759. May the peace be with you.